Hey lovies, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, you guys. It's been a while. I had quite a few things happen. I had, unfortunately, a death in the family. It was my grandmother that passed away a couple weeks ago. I went away already to a scheduled trip to Lake George, which was really fun. Lake George in New York is a beautiful, beautiful place. So I've just been super busy, but I'm really happy to get on and kind of just get back into the swing of things with some nice journaling and kind of going through my baby here, which is Triscanthia pallida, and that it's commonly known as the purple heart. So if you want to learn more about my girl Athena and see a little bit of junk journal gardening, then keep on watching. With my Athena. So this Triscanthia is pretty much a baby, but you can see how big she's grown over, I don't even know, maybe 4 months or so. So when I first got her, she was tiny, probably about this big, and she just grew. So one of the tips that I have to make a Triscanthia, this purple heart one, there's a zebra kind of variation that I'm obsessed with. So it takes this one and the green one, and this kind of has like a striped look to it. So should definitely get that pretty soon. But a good tip to make her really nice and bushy is that I actually planted 2 in this container. I think it's about high time that I change out this container, but don't be afraid to really put these guys close together. You can even, if this was bigger, I could have put even possibly 3 plants in one pot, and they just love like integrating their own root systems, and they'll thrive. So don't be afraid to kind of cluster these guys, because I did that and they are happier than pie. So again, these are from the spiderwort family, and one of the reasons why I named her Athena is because first of all, Athena just came out to me when I saw this plant. But Athena, amongst many other animals, owls, is that she relates to spiders, which is perfect for this plant. And she does a lot of woman crafting, right? Like a lot of labor and what it means to be an actual workmanship of things. So like spindle and weaving and things like that. So I figured this was perfect because the way this grows is very much like that, right? It's very much like a very almost intricate weave. So if you see it here, this is the new growth, and the growth kind of grows alternatively, almost like weaving in and out. So it was just beautiful, beautiful. But this is just such a fast grower, and to get this really nice purple, deep purple color, you have to really put it in direct sunlight. So here, as you can see, it's just getting complete direct sunlight all day long, and she will be happy and colorful. So let me just tell you a little bit more about this. So the plant is hardy in zones, I would say 7 to 10 zone. So if you are living in 7 to 10, I think you should be good year round. But with someone like me, I live in 6A, so I would definitely have to take this inside so that way she can overwinter nicely. I'm really afraid. This is my first year with the Triscanthia, but I'm really afraid that she's going to lose all this beautiful purple leaves once I put her inside, because I think she's already been accustomed to having literally 6 to 8 straight sunlight. So I think anyone who lives I live in the tri-state area in Pennsylvania, so I believe if you are having her outside, you can leave them outside as an annual, and maybe it will come back up next year as a biannual. But if you really want to take care of this plant and it's growing as beautiful as this one is, you're going to have to bring it inside to overwinter. So growth is about 2 to 4 feet. And they always say about 1 inch high, but this girl is getting big. She's like, if you can see my hand for just reference, she's getting big. So this one stem alone is well above, let's see here. Yeah, you can see it's well above like 12 inches. So it's really made for ground cover, and it's creeping. So it will, if you put it in the ground, it would potentially get low. But I think if you put it in containers or hanging containers, it really just spikes up. And then once it gets all this new growth, as you can see here, it'll probably start spidering out. And that's where you probably get the creeping low length shoots. So I don't know about my Athena, but she's been out here on my deck. And so you can see here, this is just my deck. And she's been out here. I have not moved her at all. So I know that certain people say not to keep her always moist, and it's more like a succulent type of thing where you should really give it a good watering, let it dry out a little bit, and then water it again. But again, I think she's just getting accustomed to being out here and having a lot of water every week. I know that we just came from a storm that was just crazy amounts of water. It was torrential downpouring, and I actually forgot to move her, and she's happy as she's happy as pie. So I'm not too sure if it's just finicky ones or not, but all her flowers are out, so there's no damage has been done. I'll definitely let her sit in the sun for a couple of days and try to dry out a little bit, but with water, I kind of just let it water itself naturally. If I do have a drought, I'll come in once a week, and every single week I fertilize. I fertilize with Miracle-Gro, and I don't fertilize with slow release, because you really want that Miracle-Gro to come in and then fully wash out. Maybe every other 2 weeks, just water it without fertilization, so it can completely, the soil can be done with the fertilizer. I feel like if you put slow release, you might kind of either burn the plant, or it's just too much and it's not really properly draining. The soil that I use here is a really nice mixture of organic soil and like cactus soil that they grow, that they sell at Home Depot. So it's like a succulent type, like harsh soil mixed in with organic, because you don't want it to be too condensed. You want it to really have some drainage. If you really can't get to any succulent oil, I suggest just using organic soil and mixing in a little bit of perlite. So the bloom time. So really, the blooms here are just, they're so cute. The thing is that they don't really last too long. So here's another one. So it's funny that I will see these flowers here, but then they kind of go away midday, just like this one. So all of these little flowers will pretty much just come out during the day, and then they'll be gone. And then by tomorrow, I'll probably get one here, like where all the new growth is. So these flowerings are really pretty, and I think that's where the Pallida name comes from. I want to say Pallida means like pale or something along the lines like that. So I think the Tradescantia Pallida, the Pallida name comes from the flowers. But yeah, these will flower from midsummer, which we are now, all the way up until fall. So when it starts to get a little bit cold and I see the leaves start to drop, I'll put her inside. A couple more things before I go on into, and you can follow me along on my journaling, is that I kind of want to talk about the leaves a little bit. The leaves are very, very fragile. So you want to be careful when you're watering it and handling it, because they do drop, and like I can just tug on this and it will just rip right off. So you want to just be super careful with these like lance-shaped leaves. And again, they could be used as ground cover if you are in a hot climate, so that way they just kind of keep growing for you and you don't have to do the maintenance of overwintering. And I'm not too sure if I've mentioned that these are deer resistant, you guys. Anything that you'll see on any of my gardening segments or junk journal gardening, it's going to be deer resistant plants. So yeah, so you want to take it in and keep them potted, and you might, if they grow too big, you might want to repot. And then for maintenance, it's really easy, you guys. It's like hard to really kill this plant. It's just so, it's like true Athena, like a true warrior, you know? So it's really hard to really do any damage. This is really like bug resistant. I've left her out here in my deck, and really no issues with any bugs. Super easy to care for. It does get leggy. Of course, she is a spiderwort, so if that's not your jam, I would definitely come in and trim these off so the other leggy branches can deflect and go into new growth, so that way you get more shooting up instead of just branches off from your main stem. But I kind of like this, the legginess of it, but it's all personal preference, and it's really easy to propagate. So a few little tips about my Athena and Tradescantia pallida. If you have any other questions, leave them below, but let's get into our journaling. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about my Tradescantia. Again, if you're a newbie at pretty much indoor plants, or if you live in a warmer climate and you want to add just a little bit of color to your ground cover, I highly recommend this plant. So we're going to end the video with a little bit of journaling. So I'm just coming in here with gesso to go over the page that I set down that you just saw. I wanted to add this vintage book page in particular because it has like that that driveway with the pavers, and it looks very similar to mine, so I just thought that was a really nice touch to have in the book. But for some reason that vintage paper didn't really write well, and I didn't want it to seem so busy, so I just went over it with some gesso, and I'm using my Tombow markers, and the Tombows really work well with gesso. If you see me flipping back and forth, I'm only doing that because I really wanted this journal to be more cohesive and more organized than last year's garden journal. If you can remember my first garden journal, it was just a Mod Podge of just days and thoughts and a lot of journaling prompts and things like that, where I want this one to be more of a reference grab. So that's kind of what you see here, so that way everything looks nice and neat. I'm really loving how this came out this time. I love all the purples. It's just so bright, and it's really a dark purple, which is nice for that midsummer feel. But yeah, I hope this has given you some motivation and some inspiration to get out in your garden and really journal about all the species that you have. I'm starting to prep for fall, so if you want to see some mums and some marigolds, stay tuned for that. But I'm really loving just taking the time to just journal a little bit about my plants. It really brings me joy and some stillness that is definitely needed. So until next time, guys. Mwah.